Flosstube, I'm Lori Chicalone and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Welcome to those who are new to my channel. Welcome back those who have subscribed. I'm having a great time visiting with you and I hope you're enjoying your visit with me as much. I just want to give you a little update. Michael and Rebecca have moved into their new home. This weekend we had a guest. My 91-year-old mother-in-law came to visit, and my sister, she lives with my sister, or my sister-in-law. They live together right now, and my sister-in-law went away for the weekend because she had a wedding to attend on her boyfriend's side. And so, not to leave my mother-in-law alone, we offered her to come here. At first she said no, she was fine, but because there was a graduation party in the family in New Jersey, she decided, we convinced her to come, and she finally decided that she would, and she brought their dog with them. So so it's been a little busy, but it was a lot of fun. Hopefully she had a nice time here. The first night that my husband went to pick her up, we had dinner here, and then we went over to Michael and Rebecca's, and James and Amy was there as well, and we had dessert together, and I showed my mother-in-law one of my floss tubes, and she was entertained by it. And at the end, my son Michael caught a glimpse of it, and he goes, "Were you really touching the screen to stop the video?" And I said, "Yes." I says, "I'm not used to filming on my laptop, so I know I have to use the mouse. But on my tablet, I always had to touch the screen. So I says, I can't remember sometimes what I'm doing. So yeah, you caught me doing that." So they make fun of me because I'm not up on all the gadgets and remembering this and that of the computer. So it's been a while since I use the computer every day. At work, I was a whiz at it. I mean, I love my Excel programs, my Word. Not using the computer as much as I did. You don't use it, you lose it. So anyway, we had a nice visit together. My husband is driving right now my mother-in-law back home to New York, where they live. And so I decided to give you an update on what I've been doing as far as stitching and things like that. I've also been working on my garden. I hear everybody, and they show beautiful pictures, Priscilla of her garden, and Chelsea, and Cindy from Cindy's Cross Stitch, her big sunflowers. I planted a packet of seeds, and so far only 2 have come up, and they're still small. They're nowhere near. No, they're like this, and hers are above her house almost. But I did write to Cindy, and I said that I try to do these gardens of flowers and things like that. We used to have a vegetable garden too, but once the squirrels started finding out about my garden, it was a battle all the time. Of as soon as a tomato was almost ready to pick, they would get it the day before, and then they would only eat half of it and throw the rest on the ground. So we felt like, why are we bothering? It's not like we're getting any produce out of this. So we stopped the garden, and we do have 2 tomato plants in tubs right now. And what we tried this time, because we saw that squirrels were coming towards we keep it very close to the house, we saw the squirrels coming near the plants. My daughter-in-law suggested putting a bar of Irish Spring soap. I don't know if somebody told her that, because in their apartment, they had a little balcony, and they would have some herbs, and they had tomato plants out there, and they would find that raccoons would climb up there. So somebody told her about the Irish Spring soap, and she tried it, and she said they never had a problem again. So I do have Irish Spring soap by my 2 tomato plants, and I am growing some basil, and I put parsley seeds and cilantro. So I'm waiting for those to come up. Well, they started. They're really tiny now. But I also planted dahlias and zinnias. So far the zinnias are fine. No animals have been eating that. But the dahlias, they've eaten quite a bit of the leaves. And I tried mothballs around there. Somebody had mentioned they don't like mothballs. That didn't stop. I don't even know if it's a deer that's coming, because the dahlias are growing really high, and besides the leaves on the bottom, they're starting to take the buds. So, you know, frustrated. So finally I went outside last night and I threw cayenne pepper all over my plants. I hope it works. I hope they'll keep them away. Even we're not supposed to have rain now until Friday. We're in the middle of a heat spell in the 90s here, and so I put that there, hoping that if they come at night, which that's when they seem to come, whoever's coming, I don't know if it's deer or we've had a groundhog. I've seen a groundhog go by. I don't know if it's who's eating it. So I'm hoping that once they burn their mouth a couple of times, they know not to come back. And I'll hope for the best. I'll let you know how I make out. One other thing before I get going is a friend of mine who started cross-stitching again had asked if I knew of anybody who, if we send a picture to them of, let's say, their house, could they do it in cross-stitch, or a company that does that. So if I don't know of anybody, if anybody out there knows of someplace where she can send a photograph of her house and they can translate it into a cross-stitch chart, if you can let me know in the comments, and I would love to pass it on to her. Alrighty, so let's get on to my finishes. 2 weeks ago when I made my last video, I showed you this. It's from Shakespeare's Peddler, a basket of red, white, and blue. And I pulled it out. It was a styrofoam cube, and I pulled it out, and I noticed I didn't finish the inside because the person that put it in the box, Theresa, the kitten stitcher, hers wasn't finished on the inside. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. So anyway, I finished it so that if I want to change this out, I can still have this out on any place, and it'll be a finish. But right now it'll set in here until I'm ready to change it out. So I just wanted to show you that I finished it anyway, instead of leaving it undone. Another finish I had was Lila's Studio. Oops, I forgot to take it out of the plastic. Summer. I don't have any lights on in this room right now. I'm trying to do it just by the light from the outdoors. And so that's Lila's Studio. And I finished it into a pillow. Pretty close. I left the word summer out. Here's the pattern. I left summer out. I don't know, I just didn't want to do it. And supposedly Brethren Blue is called for in the birds here. And when I went to my needlepoint store 2 weeks ago, I had to order it. And I still haven't heard that all, I mean, I gave him quite a list. So he's probably waiting till they all come, or if I happen to stop in to see whatever's in to pick them up. But I haven't been there. So I just swapped out a color. I pulled out my chart from DMC and I looked at this blue and I kind of matched it up. So that's what I did with the birds. I did not see DMC. I don't think it was DMC. I don't think it was. It could have been a Weeks Dye Works that didn't have much variegation. So that's my finish on my pillow. And I did this one. Lizzie Kate's Summer, and I did the actual summer one, and I finally finished it, and I want to give you the total effect. So here's my chicken. I bought this a number of years ago, and though my house is not, I guess, country, or I always liked it, and so I have it now by the front door, and she's behind a fence, and here is my summer. I saw Priscilla finish it, and then I saw a video from Heather Moore. Now Heather had folded it and hot glued it, but I didn't. I had a 2-inch piece of the fabric, the yellow gingham. No, they're polka dots. And what I did was I ran a running stitch through the whole length of the fabric, and then I pulled, and I ended up shirring it. And then that is what I glued then to the, no, did I glue? Pinned. I pinned it, so if I ever wanted to take it out. But then I did glue the piece of felt to kind of finish it. And I have a piece of sheet metal, and I put it right on this little fence that hangs here. And I got 2 magnets, because as you can see, the holes are quite, I don't know if you can see, but the holes are quite large in here. So I have to catch it where I'm catching more of the metal and not the holes. Oops, there you go. And there's summer. So I like that. It came out cool. Am I allowed to say that anymore? Cool? I'm glad I say these things. Another one that I finished was a Lizzie Kate Buzzy string. And here's my finish on that. Oops, some pieces are falling off of it. I went to the hardware store, Home Depot, and I bought these 2 pieces of wood, and I painted it with chalk paint. My husband tacked on, this was a paint stick that you stir paint with, and he cut it in pieces and tacked it on, because I didn't want to make this any heavier than it had to be. And then we tacked on one of these hangers. I glued on 2 magnets, and I can change this out for the different seasons. I mean, white can go even at Christmas time, and just change the decorations of it. And then I put the 2 sheet metal pieces a la Priscilla, and I put it like that, and then I made a bow out of flag material. And when I hang it on the wall, I kind of fuss with it so that it hangs well. I don't know how she does the top very well. I mean, she does it very well, but I haven't mastered that yet. And then I found this little tag that I also included here, and that hangs on the wall. So that's my other finish, fully finished. I did do the Lizzie Kate Flip It August month. It's not finished, but I have to just attach the, I believe it's a starfish, to the pail. And then I have this cute fabric watering cans that I'm going to use as the background. And then I'm going to stitch it again for myself. I'm going to change out the colors a little bit. I think I'm going to make the pale green and the shovel purple. I'll let you know how it comes out. Alrighty, let's see. I have some notes here that I don't want to forget. Oh, yes. I don't know if you noticed the last time, this box here, was up on this counter, and I had jars in it, jars of buttons and ribbons, and it wasn't being used properly. And what I did was I took it outside and I painted it. You can see the side of it. I painted it with chalk paint white around the 3 sides and down in the front on the sides. And I realized that the styrofoam cubes that I've been finishing fit in there. With room, these little cubes that I finished, I can pop them in here like so. And I can do different, I mean, if I wanted to, I could make them a little bit larger. I would have to cut them myself. But these, since they're pre-cut, I could have a little bit of room in there, which wouldn't be bad at all. And then I can do it for the different seasons. So that's my intention, but you know, those are nine holes that I would have to fill in for every season. And eventually I'll get there. I'm going to try. I'm going to see. Maybe I'll start with Christmas. I have some patterns that are small enough that I can stitch up that can fit in on the cube, because that was another thing. You had to make them small enough to fit on the cube and not too large. So as long as it fits in these squares, I'm going to try it. I'll let you know how I make out. Alrighty, so what am I working on? My whips. The last time I showed you this is Plymouth Sampler. There you go, by the Sampler Company, and Brenda Keys is the designer. And the last time since you've seen it, I've added, let's see, this side's falling. I've added the water to this point, and I did the bottom alphabet, and I started filling that in. So that is what I worked on until I put it down. And another whip that I just stopped working on last night. Now, last time we met, I was talking about this section of the pattern right here. And it's a flag. And I mentioned that I thought it was a swan. Let's see if but it's not. And one of my viewers, Joy Leftwich, thank you, Joy. I'm so thankful that you told me about this. She informed me that the flag, I'm reading so that I don't make any mistakes, is the Gadsden flag. And it was designed by Christopher Gadsden in 1775. And the Continental Marines use it. And it's a rattlesnake that is in the picture, and not what I thought was a swan. And I was carrying on about it because the words "don't tread on me" and the year were done 1/1, and I was like really concerned that I wasn't going to be able to do it. But when Joy told me about that it had meaning, and I always want to support our troops, any service men and women around the world. I pray for them daily, and I says I have to try this. I have to be able to, and I did. Since the last time you've seen this, I've added below the flowers all this side. I added the section here. I finished the pumpkins. I didn't do the stitches on the trees yet because when I lift this now to do the next section, I didn't want the long stitches to stretch or anything like that, so I figured I could always add that in the end. I did the grass across the bottom, which were like satin stitches, and I'm bringing it as close as I can, the 1/1 1776 "Don't Tread on Me." What I did was, on the black, I did a total cross. And then when I went to do it's the old gold for the section here. Oops, I have a trouble with this. Here, I was doing crosses as well, but it was too bulky. It was too tight. So on the gold in those sections, I did 10 stitch. And you probably can't tell in the pattern, but there's some, it looks different coloring as well. So it doesn't bother me. I'm thrilled that I was able to do it. The rattlesnake is coiled there, and the date's there. And then after that, last night I finished that section. I went on and started what I believe is George Washington's boat. And I remember in the instructions, if anybody else is working and hasn't gotten this far, they said to be real careful with the paddles of the boat, because the way the pattern reads, it's hard to see the different symbols of the paddles going through. So I started the boat, and then I made sure I got my paddles in before I get any further. But this is now, I've worked on it for a number of days, and that's it for this round. I'm going to, I haven't touched Willard, Kringle and Willard in this rotation. I spent a little bit more time on the Plymouth sampler and on the Heritage sampler by Plum Street. So, and what I did was, I think I've mentioned, I enlarged the pattern to fit on 11 by 17 piece so that it's easier to read, especially on the 1/1. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to be working on next. I've been contemplating different projects. The thing is, if I start other big projects, I have nothing to show you other than progress on them. Sometimes I like to show you finishes of maybe a different technique or something that I've done, or I tried somebody's. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to work on, but I wanted to start Shakespeare's Peddler, Jenny Bean and Friends. Let's see if I can do this with, yeah. I love that pattern, and I saw it at the store model, and it was beautiful. And I realized that, I said, oh, I have most of the call for colors of threads. I went to check the measurement of the fabric, and they cut it a little too short. I think I showed them the pattern, and we forgot to add the 3 inches on each side. So that, I will save that fabric because it was beautiful. And when I go and pick up my threads, hopefully one day this week I'll make a trip over there. I will pick up another piece of fabric on 28. It calls for a 28 count. No, it's actually, they did it on 40. So, but on a 28 count, it'll be 11.5 by 15. So, yeah. So that was one of the things that I would like to work on. And then to try one of these cubes, I'm going to maybe start with Lizzie Kate, Ho Ho Ho, and see how it comes out in the cube. That's what I'm planning. And then I just received a little bit of haul. This was through the Attic and McKenna sale. I bought this Lizzie Kate. It's called Snail Mail, and it has a mailbox. It's white. And the reason I bought this is my husband is a retired postal employee, and he put in many, many years delivering mail, and he did it in the Bronx, New York. And when we moved out to Jersey, he commuted in rush hour traffic and in bad weather, and yeah, he sacrificed for us, and I totally appreciated his hard work and dedication always. Okay, and then I bought Country Cottage Sand Castle Scene, and I have charts. This is stapled together. 2, which is I think I'm going to have to take this staple down. I'm sorry. I should have done this sooner. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't. So I was able to get these 3 patterns, and it is okay. This is chart number 2. I have 2, 3, and 4. No, 2, 3, and 5. So 2 is 2, 3, and 5 on the bottom there. There you go. I have 2, 3, and 5, and if I can get 4 and 1, great. If not, I was thinking of maybe trying to chart 5 in reverse and do it in, or just do 5 over and do it in red. Red house, blue house. I haven't decided. So that's another on my to-do list. And then another chart that I picked up, which I saw McKenna stitch. She stitched it, I believe, on a 40 count, 1/1 maybe. the gilded cage. It came out gorgeous. It calls for NPS silks, and I never worked with silks. I don't own silks. It's 5 colors, so I may give it a try. So I might, it does have the DMC conversion, but I'm thinking of the silks, but I haven't decided. So that's my small haul, not too many. Now my other son James came over on Saturday before we went over to Michael's, and he came over and had dinner with us, and he goes, "I bought you a present, Ma." So I'm like, "Oh, why?" So anyway, he brought this. It was in a box. It was all curled up, and I thought it was a magnifier so that when I stitch, and I'm like, how did he know I needed a magnifier? But it's not. And I'm like, there's a magnifier, and I couldn't. So he just rolled his eyes, and it's a clip. Clips onto the table. So I can clip it on the other side, but I'll clip it onto the table. This is a section that stretches for your phone, and then this is a light. I can't show you the light because it has to be plugged in, but it's a light, and I guess from behind, as I'm videotaping, I can have it had a light, maybe a yellow tone light, a white light, different lights. And I guess he meant so that I can try, and during what part of the day, whatever looks best, I can do this. He says all I need is an update in my phone. So hopefully, my husband said we might go this week because I'm due for an update. It's part of the contract that we have, he said. So I'll let you know how that plays out. And that's it for cross stitching. Just wanted to show you a few small quilts. This is one that, I don't know if you want to say I designed, but I did the 2 stars, and then I just did red and white stripes, put it together, and I found this fabric at Joann's, and I made it a wall hanging, and it'll hang downstairs for a while. But I did want to show you, I don't know if you're going to see the difference. It faded all the years that I've had this. I don't know if it'll show up as pronounced on screen as I see it in real life, but maybe here you can see how washed out it is, and how vibrant it is here. So yeah, this is, I would say it's close to 25 years, if not older. I hand quilted this. If you see real close the white stitches, that was hand quilted before I started doing things on the sewing machine. So that's my first quilt. Then this was another pattern that I did. The pattern, I believe, said "Hello Spring." Kept the words out. Just did the flowers and that. I guess the basket of flowers. And this was, let's see if I can get it. If I can, maybe from the back, I can show you some quilting in it. No, that's kind of, oh, there's a little bit. There's a dragonfly in there, and then some leaves. That's some of the quilting, and that was all free motion quilted. And then that's it. So that's another piece. This will hang in my craft room on the wall over there. And then I posted a picture of this, and somebody asked me what the pattern was, and I didn't think it was a pattern, but I found it. It's called Beaches, and it's from the Quilted Lizard. And I did this large one here. And what I did with this was you folded the fabric and then you stitched it down. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but there's like a little pleat between each row of how it was, the instructions told you to put it on. And then the fence, I'm going the wrong way, the fence was fused on with fusible web, and then I added a few of the green, which wasn't in here, but a friend had said, oh, why don't you put some seagrass in there? So great idea, Terry. And then I finished that, and here's a little bit of the quilting. And sometimes when I do one thing, I try it again. This time I did it without the pleats, and it's not finished, it's just fabric, and I seamed it, and but I don't think I'm going to finish it. So if anybody, I know that there are some stitchers that started quilting. If anybody's interested in finishing this, I'd be more than happy to send it to you, and with the pattern, if you'd like. Just leave me a message below. Today is July 2nd, Monday morning, and I will keep this opened until, let's say, July 13th. So anybody who watches the video and is interested in trying to finish this, by finishing it I mean by putting the batting and any backing fabric, quilting it, maybe fusing any other pieces that you would like to add, a boat, the sun. There's a million things you can fuse on to finish it. I'd be more than happy to mail it to you. So don't say giveaway. You have to be 18 years or older, or have your parents' permission to send me your address. I'm not going to ask you any questions this time. I'll wait for my 1,000 subscribers. I'll have a question ready for you. But just tell me that you're interested in the beaches, and if there happens to be more than one person, I'll do a random generator number generator, and just we'll get in touch with each other, and I'll mail it out to you. Alrighty. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back. I hope you subscribe. Hit the bell, and you'll get messages when I upload another one. I'm not going to make a promise of 2 weeks again, only because I want to make sure I have something to share with you. I want to have some stitching done, and as you know, summertime, there's so much to do out in the yard, and in general, of more people visiting and you visiting more people, that if I can, I will definitely drop in and give you an update of what I've been doing. I hope to see you real soon, and happy stitching. Bye guys. I know to do the mouse. Bye.